And everybody, welcome to the Marketing That Grows Your Business show. I'm just going to take a minute to keep it super real with you guys. We have all had times where we just want to pull the pillow over our heads and not come out for a while, right? Sometimes things happen in our businesses, they drag us down. We can't figure out the direction we need to go. Maybe our businesses are not the success that we wanted, or sometimes life just smacks us pretty hard. And having the motivation to stay plugged into our businesses can be tough, right? I mean, if you feel it and you can hear this message and it's resonating with you, then let us know. If I think that lots of times, when it comes to staying the course and staying motivated during these tough times, it can be challenging and nobody wants to talk about it. So if you have felt this pressure or you're there right now and you want to know how to stay the course, how to keep your energy and your motivation up, then we're going to have that tough conversation today with our special guest. Super excited about this because, like I say, most of the time we don't talk about these things. So as you guys are coming in though, just give me a shout out. Where in the world are you this morning? I'm actually back in Tampa, Florida. I'm home for probably 4 months-ish. And then I'll have to switch out with my sister again. We've been taking care of my dad, as most of you know, if you've been tuning in and paying attention to what's going on in my world. And a couple of small, quick things before we bring on our special guest today. We do giveaways on all of our shows, and today is no different. We're going to be giving away a couple of cool gifts today. One is a $15 Amazon gift card. Who doesn't like to spend money on Amazon? Like, my husband's like, I think there's an Amazon box that comes to the door every day. I'm like, it's not every day. But Amazon is my friend. I have to say, it loves me. I love it. Whatever. I do order stuff frequently, maybe too much. Shh, we won't tell anybody. We're also going to be giving away this awesome mug. I think it says a lot. Don't speak. Almost there. I'm listening. So you have to get all the way down to the bottom of the coffee cup before your brain has enough firepower to start working, right? So we're going to be giving away both of those. If you want to win, this is how you win. We have what we call aha moments. If you will drop in your aha moments, an aha moment is like if you hear something and you're like, wow, I needed that, or I didn't. Either you knew it and needed to hear it again, or you just didn't know it and it's resonated with you. Drop those in. That's how we choose our winners. So if you hear something, you needed it, drop just in that area down under. Let us know using the hashtag AHA. We'll put you in the wheel of wow is what we call it. We'll draw the winners at the end of today's show. Two other quick things before I introduce you to our special guest today. If you know somebody that is struggling, that needs to hear this, tag them or sprinkle this out into the world. You never know who might need to be encouraged, I think, by this message. So if you know somebody, again, just tag them. And one other small thing, we love the love. So click on the little hearts or whatever to showcase, that you heard something that matters to you. Also, I want to give a big shout out to a few of our amazing regulars. Paul, good morning. Good morning. We have Vicki in the house as well. So Vicki, good morning. We have Karen is here with us from Agora Hills, California. Awesome. So I'm glad you guys are here. Paul just had a birthday last week. So if you didn't get a chance to wish him happy birthday, wish him happy birthday again. It's never too late, right? We have Jeffrey from San Antonio in the house. Welcome, Jeffrey. I'm glad you're here. One other small quick thing, and then I promise you we're going to bring Darin in and we're going to talk about something that a lot of times people don't want to talk about, but I think it's so relevant. But I want to give a special shout out to our amazing sponsor, Restream. This is my go-to platform for going live at the same time from my desktop. So you don't have to use your phone. It makes it nice and simple just to sit down and go live. Right now, we're live on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and a few Facebook groups all at the same time. They have a super easy to use interface for doing like some of the cool things like the transitions, pulling in your viewers' comments like you saw me do just a moment ago, adding customized text so you can do your CTAs, and you can also do what we're doing now, which is hosting guests. You can actually bring on 9 people at the same time, so you can have like a party. You can brand your live shows with custom show overlays, your logo, even pulling custom graphics and videos. But this is a new thing that they just rolled out, and I think it's super powerful. It's called Pairs, and it allows anyone with an account and a link to your content to add your link or your content or stream your content to their social platforms. Talk about a game changer. So I think this is the perfect platform for new or even experienced creators. And guess what? You can try Pro free for 7 days and use the code KimGars25 to get a lifetime discount of 25% off. So go check them out. It's a game changer across the board on so many fronts if you are interested in live streaming. All right, so let me tell you about our special guest today, you guys. Like I said, I'm super excited. It's going to be one of those conversations that, like I said, sometimes people don't want to have, but it's relevant, I think, to each and every one of us. So Darin is a husband, a father of 5, and an entrepreneur with vast knowledge and experience in different business spaces. He's owned several successful franchises, built a massive team as a distributor in a network marketing profession. That has produced over $500 million in revenue. That's nothing to sneeze at, right? Even though he's had a lot of success, it wasn't always like that, like most of us. At one point, he has experienced bankruptcy, had his car repossessed, depressed, and on government assistance. I think this is one of the reasons he is so passionate. It's not just that I think this, that is absolutely why he is so passionate about helping others. He's a speaker, a trainer, a consultant, and coach, helping others reach their full potential and achieve goals that they never thought possible. So he's got a can-do attitude, y'all. I'm just saying. He has been featured in Success from Home magazine, served on a leadership advisory panel for John Maxwell. Who doesn't know that name, right? Interviewed by Grant Cardone, and has spoken to audiences all over the world. So you guys, put your hands together for my sweet friend Darin. I'm excited. Hey, Darin.
Hey, good morning, Kim, and good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. I'm like I said, I'm super excited, and we've talked a lot over the years about the struggles, right? Like we've been there. Both of us have been in the same boat over the years at various times, and nobody really wants to talk about this side of business. Like when there's struggle, especially in social. Let's just talk about that for a second, because in social media we have to be like where's the filter, where's the perfect business model, where's the success, because that's what most people talk about, right? So have you found that has been a struggle? Because we're going to talk about your story in a minute, but I think as it's relevant to social, do you feel the pressure sometimes to be perfect and to not share the negative things?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, just wanted to thank you, Kim, for the opportunity to speak to your audience. It's definitely it's an honor because I know all of you. How many of you appreciate all of the free, amazing content that Kim's giving? I know there's a lot of love in the comments, and let me just say this: they say it's wise to learn from experience, but it's wiser to learn from someone else's experience or experiences. And so I heard Kim speak years ago, and I immediately started stalking her and hired her for a VIP day. And I didn't have a lot of social media following, and she is one of them that helped me go out there and launch that grew my following. And so, Kim, I'm very thankful and grateful to you. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of pressure because people they see people on social media, and a lot of times they can't relate. Like, for example, if all of you You saw the part of my story, produced over $500 million in revenue and had franchises and John Maxwell and Grant Cardone. You probably immediately go, oh man, I could never relate to that. Not all of you, but you may go, hey, look, I hadn't had that type of experience and hadn't had that type of success. And so we all of a sudden start to discount ourselves. But then you hear the rest of my story, where 23 years ago, we were bankrupt, government assistance and all that stuff. And then you start going, okay, I can relate to that part. Maybe, I'm a college dropout. My wife's a college dropout. And so I think it's important to be real on Facebook and social media, because that's where, when you're vulnerable and you let people know that you're a real person and they see, okay, then if they can do it, I can do it. It makes a big difference. But the answer to your question is, yeah, there's a lot of pressure. Even, my last 2 or 3 years going through a lot of pivoting and changes. And there were times where, and I'm just being real with you, you go, man, can I do it again? You have that self-doubt creeping in. You have that feeling of sometimes, man, am I being a fraud because I put something positive online when I've got so many challenges that I'm going through in my life and my business. But I think that's important because, we don't attract what we want. We attract what we are. And when you're real, you're vulnerable, you share the ups and the downs, the challenges, how you overcome it, the things that you did wrong, the things that you did right. I think that attracts a lot more people to you than the fakeness. People are done with fake. I think that's why there's so many reality TV shows in the top 10, is because people like real. They can relate to that.
So true. So I really want to dig in. You said that you were talking about your story, and I would like to. I always feel like that there's context when you can share, like, the journey. When I first met you, you were in a network marketing company. I didn't know your backstory. I didn't know all the struggles that you had to get there. So can you share a little bit? You touched on it, but can you talk a little bit about, like, how you took that deep, dark place? And it's a deep, dark place when you have financial troubles and, you're relying on other, government assistance, all the stuff. And then to flip that dynamic, what did that look like for you?
Okay. Yeah. No, that's, and I love sharing my story. I mean, whenever someone does an introduction, like when you were reading that part off, I'm always like, I want to hurry up and get through this because they got to hear the other part of the story. Because if it wasn't for someone looking at me, not as how I was, but how I could be with my God-given potential, my life would not be the same. And so, I dropped out of college after a year and a half, and I knew that I wanted to be my own boss. I knew that I didn't want someone else dictating what I was worth. I wanted to dictate what I was worth. I knew that I didn't want to go through my entire life and have a family and struggle like we did our entire life. My dad passed away about 11 years ago. And I remember, on his deathbed, he was going, someday all the way up to that point, someday we'll go do this and someday we'll go do that. Well, guess what? Someday never came. Yeah. And I learned that someday leads to a town called nowhere. And I wanted to have great parents, phenomenal, wouldn't trade them for anything in the world. But there was a lot of things that I remember driving away from the hospital, and my mom was bawling and crying, going, I'm going to smack the next person that tells me that money's not important, because look at how much time it robbed our family, and it's too late now. And so, at an early age, I had the desire, I was coachable, I was willing to do the work, but I really didn't know what to do. Like, I didn't have mentors. There was no technology like this where you're getting like value, in learning from people's, other people's experiences and being able to compress time frames in just a short, show. And so I ended up at the lowest point. Like she said in the intro, I was 25. I was bankrupt. I had my car repossessed. I was on, government assistance, Medicaid. And I was depressed. I went to the doctor for depression, and I'm like, man, what hope do I have? I can't keep a job. I can't succeed in business. I couldn't make it through college. I live in a small town still to this day that I was born and raised in. We have 5 traffic lights and no hope. And then I had the right people that finally came into my life that started to turn things around. And so, Kim, the first thing is that I had to do was take responsibility. I ended up bankrupt. We were debt free. We had perfect credit. I had a good job, and we had a guy start building a house for us, and he walked off in the middle of building the house. He ruined everything. And that's how we ended up bankrupt overnight. And so for a while, I had a pity party. I had a pity party. Poor, pitiful me. Why do bad things always happen to me? And, and the world is conspiring to do me bad and wrong. And it wasn't until I took responsibility and go, you know what? I'm the one that hired the guy. And, and no matter where we are in our life right now, good or bad, Les Brown says, look, at some point we had an appointment to be here. It's because of decisions that we've made, good or bad. And so first of all, I had to take responsibility, for my actions and where I was, and stop looking at what I didn't want and start looking at what I did want. Started looking at where I want to go and not where I had been, because what we focus on, we attract. So I encourage you, don't look back unless you want to go that way. So when I started taking responsibility, and then now, and this is, some of you this may be what you're on this training for, this show for today. I started looking at challenges the right way. Okay. Now looking back when I couldn't feed my kids, if you would have said, hey, Darin, this is awesome, you can't feed your kids. It's awesome that you're depressed and everybody's talking about you and people thought your house was abandoned because you have sheets on the windows and you can't even afford grass, I wouldn't have taken it too well. But looking back, Kim, I found out that it's not the easy times that make us grow. We don't grow in easy times. Amen. And so when we're growing through those times, not just going through the challenging times, but we need to grow through the challenging times. And now I know without a shadow of a doubt, obstacles lead to elevation. And without obstacles, there is no elevation. So now when I look at challenges, yeah, it stinks when you're going through the challenges. But in my mind, I'm like, you know what? It's okay, because a lot of times these are what make us pivot. They make us, and if you caught what I said at the beginning of my story, I would ask myself, hey, look, why do bad things always happen to me? So I didn't have the right thinking, I didn't have the right speaking, and I didn't ask the right questions, because bad questions get bad answers. Empowering questions get empowering answers. So Kim, it wasn't until I started taking responsibility, thinking the right way, that things started to turn around for me.
So good. Such good. We call it stinking thinking, right? Like the reality is, in my opinion, is there is this 4 inches right here, like, right, is the most powerful part of our business across the board. Like if we don't have the right mindset, or then nothing else really matters. I mean, and it's easy to say, like, that's part of what we're talking about here today, is the motivation to keep our mindset straight, like, right, and focusing in on the good things. We had a really good question from, let me see, Karen. Karen had asked, how you mentioned the right people come into your life, Darin. And Karen's question is, how do you find the right people? Such a great question.
Karen, that's a great question. And Kim, I want to make sure that I highlight something that you just said. You said mindset. Anything that we ever achieve, we achieve in our head first. Okay. Like you said, you can't have stinking thinking. We have to take a checkup from the neck up. And so you want to make sure that it's like if your thinking is stinking, your business is shrinking. You can remember that, right? And
oh my gosh, wait. Y'all, I hope you've been like, he said like 3 or 4 what I call tweetable moments right there. Like, right? Like they were just golden nuggets. We might have to pull those out and make memes out of them. I'm just saying. Amazing.
Yeah, if your thinking is stinking, your business is shrinking, right? No stinking thinking. And we have to make sure we take a checkup from our neck up. And it was Bob Proctor that said, anything that we ever, he goes, if you can see it in your head, you can hold it in your hand. So success starts with their mindset. And I can go back to that here in just a little bit, but I want to make sure I get to Karen's question. So Karen said, how do you find the right people? Well, you have to be very intentional about, first of all, we have to know what we want. Why are you building your business? What are your reasons? Reasons reap rewards. Reasons reap rewards. We hear about your why. And sometimes we forget that not everyone understands what we mean when we say, what's your why? What's most important to you in your life right now? And that needs to be crystal clear, because a billionaire mentor of mine for many years, a lot of things that I learned that changed my world was this billionaire. And it just happened. One door led to another door that led to another door that gave me a relationship with this billionaire, the late Paul J. Meyer. And he would, it's a lot of the quotes and things that I just rattle off. It's because I just, I'm a sponge, I work really hard on me. But anyway, the clearer the picture of your future, the more goal directed your actions are on a daily basis. Okay. Let me repeat that again. The clearer the picture of your future here, the more goal directed your actions are on a daily basis. And if you can, see it in your head, you can hold it in your hand, is what Bob Proctor said. And then Paul J. Meyer said, what thou seest here, thou beest. Anything we ever achieve and we win, we achieve in our head first. So when you know why you're building your business, why you're going to go through the emotional roller coaster, the ups and the downs on a daily basis, and it is an emotional roller coaster. Rick Warren, who wrote The Purpose-Driven Life, he said you're either in a storm, you're going out of a storm, or you're getting ready to go into a storm. That's life, right? If things are going terrible right now, you're like, oh my gosh, this too shall pass. If things are going great, you're like, man, money is falling out of the sky. Customers are just chasing after me. Like I've got more business and I know what to do with it. This too shall pass. Just remember that. But when you know why you're building your business, then you look for the people like a Kim Garst, who is one of Forbes' top, social media experts and online influencers and marketers in the entire world, built seven-figure online businesses, right? It's wise to learn from experience. It's wiser to learn from other people's experiences. So you find the people that have what you want and you model what they do. Because if we buy people's opinion, we buy their lifestyle. So I will guarantee you, none of you are going to research me on social media. You're going to send me this urgent message afterwards, and you're going to go, Darin, I just want to know, what are your top hair care tips? You're not going to do that, right? Because why would you listen to me on how to grow hair when I only have a few of them and you can't even see them, right? I can grow a cul-de-sac, I can grow a horseshoe, but that's about it. And so you find the people, Karen, that resonate with you. And with technology these days, and I can go into this a little bit too, but with technology these days, there's someone for everyone. And when you find someone that has what you want, and you find someone their teaching style resonates with you, and then what I do is I just saturate, just saturate and just consume every bit of content that I possibly can. And let me say this, Karen, if we keep doing what we're doing, we're going to keep getting what we're getting. And a lot of the things that we do on a daily basis is because of the associations that we have. So I had to ask myself, what are my associations doing to me, or what are they doing for me? They're like an elevator. They lift us up or they bring us down. And when I started hiring people like a Kim Garst, and I started associating with different people, that had what I wanted, a lot of the people around me that were about my same, place in life that I was, they started saying negative things. Because when you start to go above the crowd, right? Dogs don't bark at a parked car. When you put your head above the crowd, they're going to swing. And a lot of times it makes them feel uncomfortable because they're not willing to do what you're willing to do. And so when I started reaching out and hiring like a Kim Garst, and 2 or 3 years ago, I remember I spent right at 6 figures and just me hiring people like Kim Garst and others, one of the top 20 YouTubers and stuff like that, to really go out there and take my business to the next level. A lot of the people that I knew, they had negative things to say about that. Like, why would you invest that kind of money? Well, they said spend, right? They don't understand the difference in invest and spend, right? Cost. I can't believe that's going to cost you that much. I'm like, no, the cost of me not hiring like a Kim Garst is a lot more than hiring a Kim Garst, because why would I want to spend years and years and years doing the wrong things, trying to finally figure out what to do right, when I can go straight to a Kim Garst, learn from her, shave years off my learning curve, compress my time frames, and get to where I want to be a lot sooner than later. So Karen, I would just, figure out what you want, why you want it, find some people that resonate with you. And we can learn from anyone, right? There's people, I don't like their teaching style. Maybe I don't really like who they are as a person, but sometimes we learn what not to do. But when you find those people, and when I'm telling my age now, I'm 48, but I had to go to my grandmother, who was an Aflac agent, Kim and Karen, and I had to go, hey, Grandma, I see you've got some Brian Tracy like audio cassettes, and the psychology of achievement and Dennis Waitley. And can I borrow those? So my associations was a boom box in an 89 Dodge Spirit that was two-tone, blue and rust with a transmission slipping. And I've got Brian Tracy in the passenger seat. So I know that's not a definite, Karen, but hopefully that gives you a few tips. Like, look, you're going to find those people, and sometimes one will lead you to another one, and you find someone that really resonates with you.
So I just wanted to tug a little bit on a couple of things you said. One, thank you for all the kind things you said about me. Appreciate that. So
They're true.
I know, I really do appreciate that, simply because it's such a big part of my heart is, shortening, to your point, shaving time off of someone else's path to the money is so powerful for me. I really, that's my why, because I struggled. So today there's so much information out there that something you said about finding somebody whose learning style resonates with you. There's somebody for each and every one of us. It's the same if you're training or sharing your knowledge with people. People are going to be attracted to your vibe that you put out into the world. And so I feel like that finding the right people is powerful. And the other thing that you talked about is there is a difference between spending money and investing. If you approach, and I've done both. I've done it to where I think I'm investing, and I will say this: I falsely put my trust in someone, and I learned more about what not to do than what to do. But I learned, and it wasn't a waste of my money. And there's the flip side of that, where you find the right person, and you reap the rewards of the investment. So I think lots of times as entrepreneurs, we're afraid to invest in ourselves. Stop that right now. I'm just gonna that's what my tough love of the day, y'all. Because if you're just, well, I can't spend money. It's not about spending money. It's about pouring into you, and then what is it that's going to come out on the other side of that. So I just wanted to just plug in and tag on to a little bit of what Darin said, because I think that is such a powerful shift in this space up here that we need to make sure we embrace that concept.
Hey, Kim, can I say something about that real quick too?
Yes.
Because you hit on something that's so big, and you or people's like, what's the best investment? Is it crypto? Is it stocks? Is it a mutual fund? Well, I'm not I guess I am a financial advisor in the fact that let me give you the number one best investment ever, and that is you. Because guess what? You take you with you everywhere you go. And thank God I had a mentor. We need people in our life that tell us what we need to hear, not what we want to hear. And, and a blind spot is called a blind spot for a reason. We can't see it. So when I had a mentor of mine say, hey, Darin, you don't make what you want, you make what you are. And if you want to make more, you have to become more. Kim, I met a guy years ago that won the lottery. Okay. And this guy had a car and a necklace that cost more than my home. And I'm like, hey, if you don't mind me asking, like, I love studying successful people. Like, what do you do for work? And he laughed and he said, I won the lottery. And I thought he was joking, but he wasn't. And he told me something interesting. They made him go to Richmond, Virginia, watch this video before they ever gave him $1. And he said it was like a horror movie. It was people one after another going, the lottery is the worst thing that ever happened to me. And they go, I wish I'd have never played the lottery. It was stories of people committing suicide, because most people didn't just lose the millions of dollars. They actually went back to a place worse than where they were before they won the lottery. And so why is that? All right. Anybody know in the comments why that is? Well, let me tell you, for time's sake. They didn't become a multimillionaire. They were given millions of dollars, and our income always comes back to where we are. But if you take it from someone that is a multimillionaire and you take all of it away from them, they'll go do it again because they became that person. And so when I learned I don't make what I want, I make what I am. Every day, Kim, even though I didn't finish college, does not mean I'm not educated, because every day I actually spend at least a couple hours educating myself on a daily basis. So that to me started changing my world. And for those of you that are kind of overwhelmed, like Karen going, who do I go to? And like, what do I do? That was me, and a confused mind does nothing. If you can just get a little bit better today than you were yesterday, if you're just plugging into Kim's, lives, and you're listening to, an audio or a podcast or a YouTube video on a daily basis, you're reading 10 pages out of a good book, it seems to make no difference at all. You're going to jump off this today and you're going to go, man, my business didn't explode today. But it's those little simple things, those disciplines that compound over a period of time that make a massive difference. Doing the things that Kim and her team, they teach you when it comes to social media. You're not going to see your social media explode today, but if you do those things over a period of time, they compound. If you're doing personal development and personal growth every single day, it compounds. And so, Kim, I just want to make sure I didn't skip over that, because that
Yes,
is
so good.
literally one of the biggest things that changed my life, making sure I go, okay, I've got to be a better version today than I was yesterday.
My mom always used to say, and I didn't always get it when you're young, you're like, yeah, it's just one of those things that, parents say. She used to say that education is the one thing no one can ever take from you. And, have you ever seen those blog posts where people will, they're saying, okay, if I lost everything today, like what would be the first 10 things you do? Okay. Now they're asking successful entrepreneurs those questions, right? Why is that? It's because they already know what to do. If they lost everything, frankly, it would streamline things, because they would just go to the things and they do the things that make them money because they know how to do it. So, invest in yourself. If you know, like one of the things I saw that Karen had mentioned here earlier, she was like, finding the right mentor and investing in that person. It's a two-way street. I will say that, because you're spending money with the person that you're trusting to help you achieve a desired outcome, but you're also investing in yourself. So, and if that person is good, they're going to feel as much of a responsibility to you, if not more, than you have for yourself.
Hmm.
So it's a very powerful opportunity to really pour, as somebody who does work with entrepreneurs, who helps them up level their businesses. Both of us do this. We take that responsibility very, very seriously. And, again, it's a two-way relationship, but finding that person, I think can be a game changer, because something else, I'll say something else. My husband's always said, we can't get to our limits by ourselves. He's retired military, and he's like, he didn't see his potential when he went into the military, but his potential was built, and now he builds people.
Hmm.
And that's another thing. Like, is if we build ourselves, guess what? We build other people, because of the we can't help ourselves. We pour back into others, because like that's just what we do. We can. It's just a powerful dynamic. Okay, sorry, I got on a little side. This stuff, though, just so fascinating. I love, love, love trying to encourage people to step into their possibilities. Um, I would love to talk a little bit about things, and you touched on a few things, but what are some things that successful people do that other people just don't? What are, like, you've seen those blog posts too, like, what are the entrepreneurs morning routines, but no, seriously, what do you think that, like, what are three things that successful people do that unsuccessful people just don't?
All right. Kim knows me. That's why she said, give me three. I'm like, dang it. I got to get rid of seven. Um, but that's, man, it's so good. And you could tell, like, I keep moving up on the end of my chair, and I keep telling myself, no, calm down, Darin. This is a conversation, because I get so excited, as you can tell, helping people, reach that next level, grow toward that full potential, because I believe we're created, well, I believe we're created for success, but programmed for failure. That's what I believe. Society, they tell us more about our limitations than our potential. And that's why it's so important to be a part of things like this. And so we talked about take responsibility, Kim. We talked about, when I learned to look at challenges the right way, going, listen, without obstacles, I'm not going to elevate. It's not the easy times that make us grow. We don't grow in easy times. And then talked about when I started asking myself the right questions. Like, for example, this morning, I've already listened to probably a couple hours, and I'm going to talk to you about that in a second, my daily, just a little bit of my rituals and my habits. But Brian Tracy, I was listening to him, and he talked about how, if you ask yourself, like, this is a secret to goal setting, like, how can I, for example, earn $100,000 in the next 12 months? And then we would do is he would brainstorm or mindstorm, I forget what he called it. And he would make himself list at least 20 things on how you can do that. So when I started asking myself the right questions, because without me going too deep, and I have to be careful, but our brain is designed to block most of the things out, because if we took in everything, it would drive us crazy. And you have to tell your mind what you want, and your mind wants to be right. So if I go, I can't afford it, then 70 to 90,000 thoughts a day, the majority are subconscious. Your mind will go into the subconscious folders, and you go, I can't afford it. Hold on a second. You're right. Here are all the reasons that you can't afford it. Instead of how can I afford it? And then it goes to work and starts being creative. So like, how can I grow my online business? I think I can't grow online businesses. No one ever listens to me. Why do bad things always happen to me? And your brain wants to be right. So that's a whole nother, training, but asking the right questions, being intentional about your speaking and thinking. Okay. That's huge. And these are all kind of mixed together, but here's what I wanted to get to. So what do successful people do? Well, motivation is temporary. The only people, Kim, I know you probably have people all the time go, can you just motivate me on a daily basis, Kim? The only type of motivation that lasts is internal. That's the only type of motivation that lasts. And before you're ever like, that's a part of like your daily routine, it's just pure discipline. Very rarely do I ever feel like, if people are like, man, Darin, you're one of the most motivated people I've ever met. Let me just be honest with you. Very rarely do I ever feel like doing what I do. So at first we have to create our habits and our rituals, and then they create us. And so, Kim, some of the challenges that I've been through the last 24 to 36 months, right? I had, three surgeries, almost died with appendicitis. My appendix had died and was gangrene and leaking into my body. And, I had crazy stuff happen on the health side. I stepped away from $3 million businesses because I didn't own the company. And there were decisions that I didn't agree with, right? That's why I went out on my own. And so I've had all these challenges and a lot more, right? Just lost my mom September 2nd and just a bunch of things. And so I'm like, okay, I don't feel like doing anything. But Emerson said, do the thing, then you'll have the power. He didn't say wait for the power, then go do the thing. Psychologists say it's easier to act your way into a feeling than feel your way into acting. And that's why Tony Robbins does so much training on changing your state, right? Like how your body moves. If you notice, like I'm being very, I'm moving a lot, and a lot of times before I do a training like this or a talk, I'm doing push-ups on the floor. I'm getting my body in a different state. So what I had to do was when I get up in the morning, and this may help some of you because this completely changed my life. I do not watch Bad Morning America like I used to. Okay. They call it Good Morning America. There's nothing good about it, right? If it bleeds, it leads. So I do not wake up like I used to and immediately take the most powerful computer ever created and fuel it with negativity. It's called television programming for a reason. It programs us. And one of the healthiest emotions available to us that is completely free is an attitude of gratitude. No matter what's going on in our life, guess what? If you're watching this and you're breathing and you woke up today, it's great news because God's not finished with you yet. So I got to the point where when my feet, before they hit the floor, I'm like, thank you, God, for another day. Thank you for my health. Thank you for my family, right? Where instead of going, the kids are loud and noisy, I'm like, man, thank you, God, for healthy kids that can be loud and noisy. And then what I do is I hit the restroom really quick and I sit down and I do a meditation, right? So I paid someone to do like a guided meditation. And then once I do that, I have a devotion app. Okay. And again, you don't have to believe what I believe, but I'm telling you what I do. And then once I do that and I'm getting ready and I take a shower and I fix my hair and all that stuff, I have a message. A lot of times it's Rick Warren or it's one of my favorite, pastors where I'm listening to a message. And then when I get in the car and take my kids to school, it's positive, uplifting, music. And then I have podcasts going. Like this morning, I have a YouTube video going. I was coming back. So the first couple hours of my day, I am fueling the positive. I am blocking the negative. I am directing my thinking to what I want, what's good, what's positive, where I'm going, and not where I've been. So, Kim, I kick off my day that way. And even sometimes let me get into that in a second. Then at night, I do something similar because I know that we marinate for the next 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours while we sleep on what we think about, what we read, what we focus on right before we go to bed. And for those of you that ever heard a crazy song before you went to bed, or you watched a movie and you wake up dreaming about it and singing that stupid song all night long, going, why am I singing that in the middle of the night? It's because your subconscious is always recording. And so, that's why even during the day, if you look, normally I have a backdrop that's like a brick wall or something, but I left it down today, one, because we're moving, but two, because I wanted to show you what's behind me. You can't really see it. But not only do I get up and have my daily rituals and my daily habits and at nighttime, and I know if I create them, then eventually they create me. But then I also set up a success environment. So, we look at our phone an average of like 400 times a day, just doing this. And your subconscious is always recording. So, Kim, I've got screensavers on my phone. I've got screensavers on my computer. I've got things behind me. If you notice, like right there's a bottle from Hawaii. And my wife and I love Hawaii. So I took that beautiful water bottle. I went out to the beach. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm taking some of the sand home with us. So that's sand from the beach out in North Shore in Hawaii. I've got playlists on my Spotify, like Hawaiian music. I've got pictures of my wife in Maui and different places. And so, one of the biggest things that you can do is what are some things that you can do on a daily basis that you're going to do, and it's going to be pure discipline. Okay. And you start doing those things, whether it's personal development. And then when it comes to your business, focusing on the right activities. I think it was Peter Drucker that said, it's not how much we do, it's the effectiveness of what we do. So it's not about being busy. It's about being productive. Okay. So Kim, the daily rituals and habits is a big part of what helped me like scale everything to the next level. And I got a couple more, but I want to see if you had any.
Yeah, no, one thing I just from a humorous perspective, I don't know, nobody seemed to notice it in the comments, but you were saying, when I get up in the morning and I get ready and I'm doing my hair, nobody noticed that. Like, seriously?
Dad jokes. I got dad jokes for days.
So I love everything you said. And there's so many, I noticed several people talking about some of the things that they do. Like Deborah is saying, she starts her day every day being grateful and reading the Bible. It's again, best way I can think to say it is garbage in, garbage out. Or amazing things in, amazing things out. And it may not happen like immediately, but you become your habits. And so I think it's super powerful in the context of the motivation to keep doing what we do, like, especially in tough times. It's all good. Like you were saying, Darin, like, it's, when things are high and you've got all the clients coming in and the money's flowing and life is good then, like, right. And we forget sometimes in those moments to stay true to our good habits because like life is good. But when life is not so good or our businesses are not thriving like we would want, or they've stagnated, or life throws us, like Darin's had so much life stuff lately, for several years. And just recently, he shared that he's just lost his mama, his precious mama. I mean, like, that's hard.
Mhm.
And yet he still gets up every day, and he puts those feet on the floor. He says, "Thank you, God." And he gets after it. He doesn't wait because he doesn't feel like it. I
Mm-mm.
mean, like, right? What happens when we don't feel like getting up every day and getting after it? We got to rely on those things that fuel us, and habits are a huge piece of it. So I love this. So do you know Chuck?
I
Chuck is,
just I just saw him bald is beautiful.
well, he is known as the bald guy. So, yep. So he can, bald is beautiful. I love that.
Hey, Chuck, grapevines think alike, and then there's us, Chuck, right?
So, okay. So, one of the things, and I know we're getting pretty close to the end here, but there's so many roads that we could go down, right? But one of the things that I'm very interested in asking your opinion on, because I think that a lot of times when we are struggling, we don't know what to focus on. To your point, like the actions you were talking about, what do you put your feet on the floor and you go do the thing. You're not waiting on the thing. So what would you say to somebody who's like, I don't even know where to start. I don't know what to focus on. What would you say to somebody that has that worry that you know, they need to overcome?
Well, I would say, first of all, I think it was Deborah that said knowledge is power. There's one more step to that my mentors said, "Hey, Darin, knowledge is power. Knowledge is potential power." And Deborah, I see Deborah's got a lot of great things. I've learned to concentrate on the positive and not the negative. Deborah, that's so good. There's good in every single situation. If anything, a learning experience for growth. So true. And when you start looking at things that way and asking, what can I learn from this situation? How can I grow through this situation? It makes a big difference. And for those of you that are like, man, I don't really know, where to get started, I would recommend sitting down and figuring out what you really want. Okay. And I remember the late billionaire Paul Meyer, who had 40 companies in 60 countries that did billions of dollars in revenue. And here's what's fascinating, Kim. He paid for over 1,000 kids a year to go to college. Back when I was with him, he had given away $400 million to charity. When you look in John Maxwell's books, and he's like, the day that changed my life was when someone approached me and asked me what was my personal plan for growth, and I didn't have one. And he sacrificed meals and vacations and took months of savings and bought Paul Meyer's program, right? So that's Paul J. Meyer. But yet Paul Meyer said, I am the biggest failure you will ever meet. And I'm like, what? How is that possible? He's like, I launched 100 companies and over 60% of them failed. But the 40 that were left did billions in revenue and changed the world, right? So a lot of times I was listening to, in another part of my daily, programming the computer, I'll listen to people that had challenging stories, whether it was Steve Harvey that was homeless and lived in his car. I was listening to Tyler Perry yesterday, right? Tyler Perry was homeless, living in his car. Like he was abused as a child and all kinds of craziness. But yet now he is a billionaire, and he talked about how he overcame those odds. I was listening to Sylvester Stallone last week in his story, and Walt Disney. And by the way, Kim, sorry, squirrel. Walt Disney, had everything taken from him. He went to New York. They stole his staff, all the people that worked for him. They stole his character. There was his life. And on the train ride home is when he created Mickey Mouse. So there would be no Mickey Mouse if that hadn't happened. So a lot of times those challenges are what lead us to where we should be anyway. So once you figure out what you want, then ask yourself, what can I do? What can I do? So on a daily basis, when you're setting your to-do list, I used to have a to-do list of 50 things. But then when my mentor said, hey, no, Darin, what are the top 3 to 5 things that are going to get you moving in the right direction today, right? It's not how much we do, it's the effectiveness of what we do. And then you have to take action. You're never going to feel like it, but you've got to go out there and you got to fail your way forward. So Tyler Perry said, look, I've never failed. And people are like, what do you mean you've never failed? And he's like, the only way you really fail is to quit. With every, and Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, so with every seed of failure is a equal to greater seed of success. So prioritize on a daily basis when you have to think of only 3 to 5 things that you can do that move you, your key KPIs, your key performance indicators, your HPAs, your high performance activities, or PPAs, profit producing activities, whatever you call it. It's what are the things that are going to get you the 20% that's going to lead you to the 80%. And the other point of that is find accountability. Find someone that can help you be accountable. Apathy is a natural human instinct common to us all to seek a comfort zone where nothing ever changes. A comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing grows in a comfort zone. And if we keep doing what we're doing, we're going to keep getting what we're getting, right? And the definition of insanity is doing what we've always done and expecting things to change. For things to change, we've got to change. To get something different, we have to do something different. So when that billionaire said, Darin, you will never get to where you want to be in any area of your life without accountability, then I knew. So now I may not look like it, but I know how to work out. But I have a trainer in the gym. I have friends that hold me accountable on the spiritual side, right? And when it comes to business, that's another reason I like hiring someone like a Kim Garst and paying them a lot of money, because people that pay attention. And sometimes when it's given to us for free, and Kim, I was listening to a trainer that's made $50 million. And he's like, those of you that aren't charging enough, you're not doing your clients a favor. You're actually hindering them, because people that don't pay attention. When they have an investment and they have that accountability and they have someone in their life, like, for example, Kim, I love when you and I talk, and Rhonda, and it's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame, is what Les Brown says. It's hard to read the label when you're in the box. So when you have that accountability and you're going, hey, Kim, you told me you really wanted it. You told me this is why you wanted it. But I'm looking at what you did this past week, and the words and the actions aren't matching up, right? Sometimes our actions speak so loudly, people can't hear what we're saying. Now, I don't have to say that to Kim because she goes out there and does it, but I'm just giving you an example. I want those people in my life that hold me accountable and going, what does feeling like it have to do with doing it? Your why, if your why is big enough to make you cry and those reasons help reap the rewards, like that's going to pull you. When you know where you're going, that vision is going to pull you forward out of your comfort zone like a magnet. Then when you have people that are in your life that they can see those blind spots and help push you to where you want to go and get something different, it makes a big difference.
So I will say this, because I think this is super powerful based around what you just said. The biggest leaps that I've had in any of my businesses came through the association of investing in myself, like finding somebody who could get me to the next level. Like when I was trying to learn digital marketing, like, okay, who knows digital marketing? Digitalmarketer.com. So Ryan Dice and, all of that crowd. So I paid $30,000 a year for years to learn from them, to shorten the learning curve. And that's a scary thing. When you're thinking $30,000, that's a lot of money, or $10,000 or $50,000. Masterminds have got to where they're a lot more expensive even now than they were, 10 years ago. But I will not say I promise, because I don't want to say that in the context, because what if you choose the wrong person? But in my experience, and I think Darin would say the same thing, in my experience of finding the right people that had the knowledge that I wanted, investing in myself to shorten the learning curve, and doing it messy. Like I didn't, like my first video sales letter, for example, was just gosh awful. But I learned and I got better each and every time. And it didn't take forever. It shortened my learning curve and it held me accountable. So every time I've invested huge sums of money in my learning and my ability to up level my business, it's paid off tenfold. Do you agree? I mean, because it's scary, right? It's scary to say, hey, here's $15,000 or here's $10,000 or here's 30. It doesn't matter where you are financially. That's a big chunk of change. but it's always, in my opinion, paid off. One time, I'll just give you one other quick example. I recently, like 2 years ago, paid $60,000 to a branding company because I was struggling to get my branding done. And I got nothing for that. Now I want to say that again. I spent $60,000 and I got nothing for it. What came back was laughable. It was laughable. Like, yeah, I ain't using that. No, but I didn't look at it as a loss. I looked at it like I would not have taken, you mentioned this, so many other things happened that were amazing because what they produced, it was a Walt Disney moment where Mickey Mouse wouldn't have been created if all that stuff hadn't been taken care of or taken away from him. So sometimes you either learn what not to do, or the byproduct of that expenditure leads to so many other amazing things. But I'd love your experience with that. Like what has happened to you when you've invested in your business and yourself and your knowledge before?
Yeah, yeah. So, and Kim, if you're going to pay $60,000 for nothing, I would actually only charge you $30,000 for nothing since we're friends.
Right.
I'll give you half
I should
price
have
for
done
nothing. Like that's how much I love you. No, there's a story, Kim, that talks about this factory. It was a multi-million-dollar, it was just making so much money, and the whole factory shut down. And you can tell I like stories, right? Which is another tip. Stories sell, facts tell. And our mind thinks in patterns. So anytime you can relate to people with stories, and I love stories, but this factory shut down and no one could figure out why they couldn't get it back going. And so finally they hired this guy to come in. He walks right over to this box in the corner. He opens it up. He turns a screw, and then he walks right back. Everything turns back on, and it's back up and running. And he walks over to the owner, and he says, "Look, that'll be $10,000." He's like, What do you mean it'll be $10,000? It literally took you like just a few minutes to go turn one screw. Like, can you give me an itemized bill and explain that?" And he's like, "Sure." So he walked over, he took a piece of paper and wrote some stuff down. He walked back over and he goes, "Turning screw, $1. Knowing which screw to turn, 9,999. And so, Kim, that's why I think your story is so powerful, is because there are times where I've hired people and paid them $18,000, $20,000 and they did nothing. There was another time I hired someone, to help me with ads, and I spent, it was over 20,000. They did nothing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why is it so hard to find someone to do what they should? Then there are times where I hired someone like you that helped me go out there and build like from nothing to several 100,000 on social media, and hire one of the top 20 YouTubers in Forbes and blow up my YouTube channel, and getting ready to revamp that whole thing now. And so the point is, there's a cost either way. Okay. There's a cost if you don't hire someone, because now that's why your story is so powerful, Kim. And I tell everybody about you, right? Because I'm like, do you want to spend the next 10, 20 years spending hundreds of thousands of dollars making mistakes? Or do you want to hire someone like a Kim Garst that paid someone 60,000, that did a terrible job, which led her to do all these other things that led them to where now the reason that they have the business that they have is so they can fill the voids, and they knew what was lacking. And you can shave, I call it success compression, right? Get to where you want to be. I don't want to spend the rest of my life trying to figure out what to do right. I want to hire people that know what to do and get there a lot sooner than later. So the cost of me going, I'm not going to pay that much money to hire Kim Garst. Well, guess what? It would have cost me a lot more over a period of time. I would never be where I am. So when you find someone, there's another friend of mine, he just hired someone and paid him $100,000 for 6 1-hour calls. Okay. 6 1-hour coaching sessions, $100,000. And this person, I'm like, man, because he had the first call. I'm like, how was it? He's like, paid for the whole program in one call, because this guy's big in real estate and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's the power in finding someone. Now, if you go ask your negative broke friends and family, they're going to go, why would you do that? Right. But they're broke. And if we buy their opinion, we buy their lifestyle. Like, listen to me. And, it was a Chuck about hair care. You're not going to do that. So when you find the right people, it's worth the investment, because again, if you want something different than the masses, we have to be willing to do something different than the masses. And the masses are not willing to invest. They're educated in the school system to go out and get a good job, exchange time for money, right? Work until they die. And there's nothing wrong with that because there's people that I know that they're like, look, I teach because I love to teach, but I would like to do it because I want to, not because I have to. And so those are, that's kind of my perspective, Kim, is
Yeah.
it's worth its weight in gold. If I could go back to my younger self,
Yes.
one of the things I would have said, like, forget the fancy, forget cars, forget, I don't even care if you don't buy a home, rent somewhere, spend all that money and educate yourself, find out what you really want, find the people that can help you get there. It can be a tour guide to take you along, and it's worth it.
Yeah, there's even if you're at a place where you think you're successful, I think it doesn't really matter where you are. Is if you are serious and you want the next level, it's about the space between where you are and then where you want to be, and again, it's very hard to get there on your own, even when you know what to do. So like right now, I have a mastermind, but I'm actually, I invest in a mastermind. I'm getting ready to do one for this upcoming year because I know the power of being connected to mostly accountability, and because we just get complacent ourselves, or in some cases we need the fresh blood, we need the fresh ideas and the connection. And so there's so many powerful things, I think, when it comes to up leveling our business and staying motivated. It's an outside, in many cases, is an external thing, even though a lot of it, to your point, is the only true motivation is internal. But we have to feed that. We have to feed that internal spark, if you will. So, okay, real quick, there's a couple of things I want to make sure that we highlight real quick. We have our winners. So we have Karen is won the mug, the Don't Speak mug. So Karen, if you'll go to kimgross.com/winner and give us your details, we will get that out to you ASAP. And then the second winner is Tawana. I hope I said that correctly. Won the $15 Amazon gift card. Also, I want to make sure that you guys know where to connect with Darin. Now, Darin is, if you haven't figured it out by now, he is going to light a fire up under y'all. I'm just saying, because he is incredible from just so many perspectives. But every time I hear him speak, I'm just like so empowered by the zingers. Like sometimes it's just like we needed to hear those zingers, right? But you can connect with Darin over at darinkid.com. Where on social would be a good place for them to connect with you, Darin?
If they go to darinkid.com, they can click on all my social media icons on the site. But most of them, Facebook, it's Succeed with Darin, facebook.com/succeed with Darin. And then most of the other places, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. And what you're going to find is that, so I think my story is a little bit interesting from the fact that I've had traditional business experience from the franchises. I had the network marketing experience for 28 years, the speaking, all the different things that have happened. And so you're going to also see like my YouTube and different platforms totally revamped with new content coming over the next, 2-3 months. We're going to be launching a podcast, writing a book. And so, Kim, it's been an honor and a pleasure to be on here. And I'm just excited to hear about the stories because, again, knowledge is not exactly power. Knowledge plus action is power. It's not what we know, it's what we do with what we know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was the founder of IBM, Watson, that said, if you want to double your rate of success, you double your rate of failure. And
Yeah.
so success and failure, they're not separate. They're together. So if you wait till you feel like you're ready, you're never going to feel ready. So when you jump off of this training, what is something that you can do right now to move you one step closer to your goals?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we sometimes get in a place where knowledge keeps us stuck because we don't think we know enough yet.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just learning one small thing and just taking action on it. Next day, one small thing. Next day, one small thing. So taking action is super powerful in any context. But thank you, Darin, for being with us and sharing your wisdom with us. And I want to thank all of you that are watching live and on the replay if you're tuning in or listening later. Thank you. I know time is valuable, and we appreciate you being with us. Definitely connect with Darin. You're going to be so blessed by the connection for sure. Darin, when you get ready and the book is ready, I want you to come back and fill us in on what's happened between now and then. Okay.
Sounds great. Can't
All
wait.
right.
Thanks,
Take
everybody.
care. All right. Take care of yourselves. God bless. Stay safe.